Hi, my name is Susie and my channel is Pink Diamond Guide, and just wanted to do a reading as particularly for the twin flame community and the collective. This soulmate cycle has had some really power-packed energies, and May was really intense with Mercury retrogrades and different planets aligning to really bring some lessons up to the surface. And now we're moving into a time where, we've got another big player starting to make its way across the sky. So we've got Saturn going into retrograde up until the end of October, which brings a whole nother wave of energy to the forefront. And I'm not an astrologer, but I do follow those who, who are astrologers and who are experts in this field, because I've always found it to be relevant. So even though I don't track it myself, I do follow what they're tracking, and like to sort of apply that to my readings because it's always been so relevant. So with Saturn going retrograde, it's a big energy, and Saturn is the planet connected to karma and authority and discipline, and it can, I don't know, it can have had a bit of a bad rap with this return to Saturn energy that we're talking, is known to can be a big bad deal. But if you take what Saturn's got to offer into this retrograde phase, where lessons have really been thrown up to you under, particularly through the month of May, like there was some big energies, big power plays, particularly for twin flames and the collective. If you take that all into this Saturn retrograde, this energy up till the end of October can really see you moving forward in life. The energy is meant to be constructive, not destructive, even though it has that, that tag attached to karma and authority. So how you play this time in Saturn retrograde, free will and all that kind of stuff, but you can really take advantage of it over the next little bit. Let's have a look at the energies that are affecting twin flames right now. And we'll look at it, from the perspective of the divine feminine, looking into what's going in with the divine masculine and any sort of energies that sort of are playing out against both of them to, because it does feel like this soul cycle wants to wrap up, and unions, are so close people can taste, and they might even be having dreams about what that looks like, or starting to have conversations with, soulmates that they're going to come into alignment with, whether it's a twin flame soulmate. However, like the labels are there to give us understanding of the patterning and the process, and to give us some kind of like structure. But the doctrine, like don't hold so tight to it that it destroys your life. So if you're connecting to the twin flame journey, and you feel close to coming into union with a soulmate, just take the blessings where they come. And if it's not who you thought your twin flame was, or someone else comes into the picture for part of this journey, embrace what that is, because it feels like the next part of this soulmate cycle is a little bit of happiness for a big bunch of people who've been through some really crappy times as far as relationships go. So let's have a bit of a look around the person that you're thinking of, the divine feminine, divine masculine. Let's see sort of what's playing out on those fronts. So divine masculine, through your eyes, looking over at the divine masculine, we've got the Seven of Wands, we've got the King of Wands, we have the Nine of Pentacles, we have the Hierophant, we have the Nine of Swords. See, I'm glad that this is this dream space thing that I'm kind of picking up on. And Judgment. I like this. This is what we've been sort of picking up on. These, this coming into sort of understanding the lessons, and coming into some time where, like I'm not filled, this reading's not filled with cups or anything like that, or massive great reunions, but we do have under the deck. Let's have a look at what we've got going on there. Look, I don't want to go too deep. Let's just take what we've got there. Look, we've got the Nine of Wands that I've popped down there. That energy of the wounded warrior. Like, people who've been on this journey for, some people have been on it for a decade or more, whereas other people have moved into this soulmate cycle much more recently. But people are battle weary, and here we've got in the Nine of Wands energy, you've got the Eight of Wands that sort of stand behind as monument to the battles, but there you've got the person is still grabbing onto that goal, that one wand that keeps them moving towards their, whatever it is that they set as their destination. The energy of Nine of Wands to me it's a nod to your persistence, your resilience, to the development of true grit. And this is kind of, as it's coming up from the bottom of the deck, it's kind of like, this is the room we're living in right now, is like people are battle weary. They've gone, is this getting close to some kind of a pinnacle, a pinhead? And I want to say, yes, it is. It feels to me like it's getting close. The Nine of Wands is saying you've fought all these battles and you've won, and true grit is your prize. You are resilient, you are persistent, you are a warrior. Let's get on to the next part of the journey. And look, underneath, gathering the resources. But look up here. We go, here's what feels like it's coming, and these they came out this way, didn't they? So here we're coming into clarity. The universe does want to give us this understanding with the Ace of Wands. Information is coming into focus. You are understanding your place in the universe is kind of want to say you're understanding why you've gone through what you've been through. You're understanding why for so long you've been out in the cold, why for so long you've felt the disconnections that you've had to feel. And here, look, you're going to understand how that served the Ten of Cups energy, which is, the happy family with everything that you could possibly want in that scenario. This is a feeling of union and contentment and all of those wonderful things that you've been through all of these lessons believing you are entitled to. So it's apologies there, we had a bit of a technical glitch. Have no idea why Mercury retrograde was meant to be done. But anyway, we persist. So that's what's coming up. That's what's setting the mood for the room at the moment, is this idea of coming into understanding of what the journey was about, why you've had to sit out in the cold for as long as you have, and that it's really trying to bring this happiness towards you after all of these battles that you've been through. So understanding is on the way, and on the back of that understanding, feels like to me is where we do come into this look in the outcome, and I'll get to it, this place of judgment. So what have we got in this energies affecting? So from the perspective of the divine feminine, looking over at the divine masculine, go, what's currently in the divine masculine's energy is this Seven of Wands, defensive energy. It's like, why are they feeling the need to stand their ground so rigidly? It does appear to me like there's still something in the energy of this Seven of Wands that says, I really don't want to tell you everything that's been going on. So we've got these Six of Wands behind them, and they're like kind of barricading what all of those wands were all about, by holding this one wand still. It's like their last bastion of defense. What is it that is stopping them making this step forward into what it is that, there's a sense of destiny. There's a sense of feeling like, the push is there for them to move into what they know to be true. But what are they hiding still? What are they still defensive about? What are they, do I want to say scared of? What are they scared of revealing? What are in these Six Wands that they just have to continue to keep that defensive stance about? Is it things that they've said about you? Is it the way their family feels? Is it actions that they've taken, people that they've dated? Is it their financial situation? Is it, I don't know, is it the car they drive? I don't know. It could be anything. What are these Six Wands that they are still feeling so defensive about, that they're having to take this stand and go, I'm still going to hold back from these forces that are coming against me? But to me, it's like the last bastion of defense. If it's the push against this scenario just feels so intense, particularly with this change from into this Saturn retrograde, where people are really, it's that karmic authoritative energy. It's very defining, and it'll be like a cycle within a cycle, where Saturn retrograde plays its hand to bring people into those lessons. And it's like the harder you fight against the truth of this scenario, it's like the harder karma comes. And I'm not saying that karma is like it's not putting you on the post and whipping you with you were bad, so here's your karma for misbehaving. It's more like, what did you learn? What are the life lessons in this scenario? What are they showing the world at this point in time? Look, they're still in this. It is a toughly egoic energy, and it's still a bit of an in and out energy, where they're still trying to put on a very, very confident stance against what they are in the world. Look, here you've got this Seven of Wands, where they've got this, he's very, very defensive about this last bastion of defense, and the King of Wands is standing over it. So it's going kind of, if I break down and I surrender into these things that I'm feeling, or these mistakes that I've made, are people going to look at me the same? Are they going to still fall at my feet? Are they still going to treat me like I'm popular, like I'm confident, like I've got my all together? Whereas, like, they are still putting on a very, very confident air for someone who's so defensive. So it still feels like there's a bit of a push there to, if this is the last bastion of defense, it's sitting in a very egoic space, saying that the decisions I've made I stand by, even though it's not really what I want. Because we'll dig into that a little bit more, of why I'm kind of leaning towards this. What's in the soul space? Look, I always see this as a, it's Nine of Pentacles is a very independent energy. So if we're looking in their soul space, it's still like about the Pentacles. It's still about how they're being seen, how they're still moving very, very independently in that soul space. There's no cups in there. It's all still very, if I'm putting these together and I'm going, you're showing up in a very egoic, confident space, worrying about your pentacles in your soul space. Like, where's the depth? Where's the emotion? Where's the, it's to me, it's like that last bastion of defense. I'm going to stand my ground and show the world that the decisions I've made are the decisions I stand by. And even if it's not truly what's going on for me, which is, I'll get to here, I'm going to show the world I've got it going on. Look, I got everything I need. I'm quite strong in my independence, and the decisions I made I stand behind, and I'm going to confidently walk forward and not look back. I'm going to defend it. I'm going to stand in this. And it does feel to me, I'm going to say, like, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it feels like the last line of defense, right? Because what I've got here is, like I had this Nine of Wands pushing through from under the deck, and it's like this, grit is part of the journey, and that's pretty much what's being hung on to here, is this last little bit of resilience, persistence, grit. But everybody's battle weary. It's nearly it's enough already, right? So what we've got down here is a challenge. We've got the Hierophant, right? The Hierophant is a challenge, and I find this super interesting, because if we're looking at, the Hierophant can represent these higher levels of wisdom. The Hierophant can represent being married. It can represent the idea of a priest and people moving into higher levels of commitment. If we've got that in that challenge space, look at this, and we're reading these as a sequence. Look, Seven of Wands and the Hierophant, one on top of the other. And if their last bastion of defense is being single, their challenge is to move into some level of commitment, that would make a lot of sense. It's kind of why I'm going, this feels like it's a throwdown of their singledom, their independence, their doing what they say. They've made decisions, they've gone out on their own, they've done the damage that they've done. And when the Hierophant comes in this challenge, is that, you know, the challenge is to the wisdom of their decisions. The challenge is to higher levels of commitment. The challenge is to, you know, like this union, this connection. Feels to me this is linchpinning it. But this is what's coming around for both, is this understanding of why each was out in the cold. And if out in the cold was cocky independence over here, but out in the cold for the feminine, it's like it's a very different read. She's definitely in this battle weary energy. But the universe is trying to push this Ten of Cups through. You know, it really does want to tip into this space. Like, it's set the table for everyone to be happy. And the Divine Masculine, in his brilliant wisdom, he wants to fight. His brilliant wisdom, he wants to fight the next level of connection. He wants to stand defensive. But what I see happening, this is where it gets interesting for me. This is what I like. You know, I'm a little bit happy to see this here. It's because I was picking up, and I said it in my intro, that it's probably affecting people in their dream spaces. They're probably seeing it in their imagination. It's probably hitting them when they least expect it. They might not even be able to sleep because they're overthinking. They're in this very defensive energy that's keeping them up at night. They're trying to gain wisdom, but there's, you know, some kind of defensive energy to this wisdom coming through. So Spirit is sending it the best way they know how. They're sending it in the dream space, or they're sending it in the imagination space, trying to get this this information through. And I would hazard a guess the Divine Masculine is seeing signs and symbols, and, you know, pretty much everywhere they turn, which is why this fight is on. And everybody's battle weary from it. It's like, are we going to surrender already? And it's like fully being brought forward into the, and if this is the, you know, the energy of a bit of advice from Spirit, they're saying, I'm pushing my story forward. I'm not letting them sleep until we get to the bottom of this scenario. I will literally keep you up at night until you step into this next level of wisdom. So it's I really like this, because it sort of reflects this too. It's like, I'm going to keep sending these swords of wisdom at you until you come into clarity about the gift, the true gift that I want to give you. I like the joy and the you know, all the gifts of the Ten of Cups, feeling happy, content, at ease, peace, joy, abundance. Bring it on. Okay, so what we've got as a potential outcome at this current time, the Judgment card. How cool is this? To have the Judgment card as a potential outcome at this point says it's coming to some kind of a climax. I always kind of look at this card as going, if you're standing at the pearly gates and the process was being judged, it falls in divine favor. It's like God says yes. You graduated. You can move to the next phase. You can. Everything is completed. Judgment is final. There's only one more step in the major arcana, and that's to move to the World card. So it's like, this is your graduation day. This is where you actually come and get the assessment on everything that you've been through, everything that you've tried, everything that you've learned, which is the, you know, the Saturn retrograde energy is going, what have you learned? What can you take forward out of the last cycle that's really going to serve you? Judgment falls in your favor. I love that. I love that as a potential outcome for this read. So let's have a bit of a look in our Divine Love Oracle and just pick a couple of messages out and see what we've got there. See what we've got for the Divine Feminine and Masculine in this current soulmate cycle, moving into Saturn retrograde. Let's see what energy we actually have on the top. Surrender on the top there. Feeling that. Let's choose one at random. Oh my gosh. Look, again, God's Warriors. God's Warriors. It's definitely sort of the energy of the moment. Oh, look, the puzzle. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting as a little sequence. Really quite, find this very interesting. So look, very much again, we've got this idea of, you know, on mission, doing what you've come here to do. You've fought so many battles. Look at all these wands in the background, and you are still in the fight. That is true grit. God's warriors were sent here to raise the vibration of the planet via this process of a twin flame soulmate journey or divine soul journey. So it's to have that land down here at this point alongside our Nine of Wands feels very in sync. It's an acknowledgement from Spirit of all the work that has been done. I love that this one comes in, particularly that we've had a bit of a real dig into what's going on with the Divine Masculine, the puzzle. And this is the bit that still, when you get to Judgment, is really when you figured the puzzle out. You've graduated. And it's been tough because, you look at this, you can imagine that as a jigsaw puzzle. A lot of the pieces would look the same. And it would be, when you're trying to put all that together, it would be a little bit tricky because the colours are similar. There's lots of similar shapes that they look like they should fit here this way, but you have to take them out, turn them around, shuffle them, adjust them, make sure that they fit in the proper places. And this is kind of what this couple have been through. They've been figuring it out, going, where do the puzzle pieces actually fit together so that it comes together to make sense. And I want to say that we're so close to having all the puzzle figured out that we now know. And I think what the energy of this card is, no way out, right? And again, I kind of align with this energy of the wounded warrior. You can see that this feminine's been in chains. She's been through a process, and she's battle weary, and she knows that at this point of the journey, there isn't any way out. Once you're awake and once you've done the work that you've done, you don't go backwards. And this card does sort of have the energy of, it does have this energy of the chains that bind, and that you can get a little frustrated that you've been trapped in this journey and that there's no way out. But I think what sort of why this comes to the fore now is that once you've figured out the puzzle, once you understand why you're here and why you've had to go through it, that there's just sorry about that, that there's just, there's no going back. There is no going back once you've completed the task, once you understand why you're here and what you're meant to do, and you're in it and you wouldn't want to go back. So that's what I'm picking up from those messages. And essentially, we've still got a little bit of fight energy, but it doesn't feel like it's as I don't know. It doesn't feel as tenacious as it once was. It's like the last line of defense until this moment of understanding comes in, this moment of completing the puzzle, this moment of graduating, this moment of going, I know that I'm meant to be in this connection, and honestly, if I continue to deny it, I will continue to be in the struggle. There's no way beyond. Once you get to this point and you know what it is, there's no going back. There's no going back. Just one more thing I wanted to do today from our 65 days is just to choose a thought for the day. Ooh, and I've chosen adjust your perspective. I think this is really interesting because particularly when we've got to this point, and I think there's a lot of feminines that I've been speaking to on the line who are nearly at the point of giving up. It's like if we look at here, we've got, like if we look at the feminine here, battle weary but hanging on to their one wand, and here we've got the masculine, defensive, and hanging on to their one wand. For this to truly tip over, it is an adjustment of perspective in understanding that it's not good, it's not bad, and that it's perfectly in process. And particularly the more the feminine can stay in that neutral space where they're not they're not running, they're not chasing, they're just holding space. They're just understanding that in the current space that they're in, it's just to continue to keep the door open. keep the door open, and know that everything that you've done has come, it's coming to completion, and that happiness is, it really does feel the next part of the cycle. There's a whole lot of joy and abundance coming towards the divine couple. It does. It feels close. It wants to birth. So adjusting your perspective is to continue to, like, you feel battle weary at the moment, but continue to keep your faith, and don't give up, and know that this journey happened for a reason, and that you've done your bit to really raise the vibration of the planet and help complete the mission of, delivering Earth into a new sense of harmony, a new level of humanity, something that we've not known before. So I know you're down, I know you're battle weary, I know you're all but done, but if you can hold space for just a little longer, tell yourself that everything that you've gone through is absolutely perfect. It'll continue to assist in bringing this puzzle to its conclusion. And I tell you what, where is it? The divine has called out for judgment, and it finds it in your favor. So that's my update for what's going on with twin flames at the moment. These readings are for a whole bunch of people, so take what resonates, leave the rest, and just, this is for guidance, and we're drawing on big energies, and there's the point of reaching out across these channels is to support as many people as we can. So would love it if you like the way I deliver information, that you do the like, share, subscribe thing, to help get information out to more people. Until then, until we catch up with each other next time, should you choose to join me again, take care of you, and all the best till we chat again. Bye for now.